When I first started gambling, it was something fun to do with my friends after a night out, or to lunch with Mum and putting a few coins in the machine.
I usually gambled when I felt upset or stressed out or angry.
Working most of the time, caring for my children and normal household stuff, plus not a very close relationship with my husband, I really had no time for myself.
I lost my husband and my children and my grandchildren.
So when I had some time to fill in, I'd go and play the machines.
I gambled because I was lonely. I had no friends, no family near me. I never thought I'd let anyone down.
I found I could lose myself and not have to worry about anyone.
The colours made me feel really relaxed and my worries were gone for the day.
I found myself rushing to get work done so I could spend more time at the machines, or telling my family I was working so I could get to a hotel and not have to check in with anyone. It didn't take long before I was spending most of my wages. I had access to people's money at work, so when things fell behind, I'd use this, and then try to win the money back to replace what I'd used and lost.
I wondered how I was going to explain to my family when the budget didn't equal out. I felt rejected. I didn't want to go home. I felt foolish and thought I'd never go back, but I always did. I hated all of the deceit.
Then the phone call came from work. Please come in to talk. I knew what was coming. Strange as it seems, I was relieved. It was finally over. I didn't have to hide anymore.
All I wanted to do was hide away from the world.
I went into work and was fired. After that, I turned myself into the police. I went through the whole process. My statement, I was arrested, photoed and fingerprinted. Then the hardest part of all, facing my husband. He was very shocked, to say the least. As were my mother and the rest of my family and friends. Going through the court system was so hard. Back and forth to court, having it printed in the paper, going through the heartache of seeing my children suffer at the hands of schoolmates. I received a 12-month sentence.
If I could turn back my time, I would never have put the first coin into a slot almost 10 years ago.
My time in jail was the hardest on my husband and children. They suffered the horror of facing people after I left. Contact visits were heart-wrenched, having them for a few hours and then having to let them go.
With the support of my counsellor, psychologist and doctor, I realised I wanted to give up, to stay away from the poker machines, and to get my children and grandchildren back.
After coming home, I found everything I had known had changed. My children had grown to be independent. My husband and I had a closer relationship, making a pact to talk about everything instead of coping with things ourselves.
It helps when you realise you have a problem and you aren't in denial.
I'm not a bad person, just one of the many who find themselves with a terrible addiction that I couldn't find a way out of. I still feel shame and guilt even after all this time. My husband is learning to trust me again.
I trust myself in going into a gambling establishment because I went out with my son and his girlfriend, her 21st, and I offered to buy him a drink and he suggested I go into the bar, which I did, but I didn't know that the poker machines were in there. And when I handed them my money, they gave me change, all in $1 coins, and I put it in my pocket and walked out in disgust. I just think to myself, what fools you are losing your money. You know, you could have beautiful things.